So I'm here today with Simon Whale, and this is to do with the Careers Week that Rebecca Holes is running at Magna Academy. Good morning, Simon.
Morning, Zoe. How are you?
I'm absolutely fine. For the young people that obviously are watching today, could you just explain what you do and just give us a little bit of a flavour of how you got there?
Yeah, cool. So I'm responsible for creating the backseat. No, my name's Simon Whale, as you quite rightly said there. I'm proudly the Chief Kerfuffler, which is obviously a made-up title, but that basically means I founded our business just over 18 months ago, Kerfuffle, which the simplest way of thinking about it is a bit like a trip advisor for the estate agency profession, building a marketplace of suppliers where you guys, the estate and letting agents, can find the right businesses they want to do, they want to partner up with, basically. So loosely speaking, that's it. A lot of people said that was just an excuse so that I sold my business, as you know, 3 years ago, my other business, and a lot of people said I did Kerfuffle just so I could keep getting invited to the events, and when we're allowed, still keep going to the same bars. Since I was 4 or 5 years old, this has all been mapped out like a grand strategy. No, it hasn't been at all. Totally accidental. Luck, fate, whatever you call it, sliding doors played it. I've never been an estate agent, so I fell into the job once I finished at university. I was offered, cajoled, as actually many of you guys watching might be. Parents kept saying, "Come on, get off the sofa. You're not sitting around." You're not sitting around bumming around doing nothing. On my first job, I had launched indulgence coach tours for students at university, going to Amsterdam, Dublin and Prague. So it was only natural, as you said, that I would fall straight into a technology thing. And basically, my dad badgered me and said, "Look, there's a job going at a business called Wealth Management Software. It's a sales job. You're pretty good with the old gift of the gab. So why don't you apply and do it?" And from that stage on, I didn't exactly set the world alight. And I think if there's one thing I would say is, whilst I think it's really important to look to your gut feel when you're doing in business as well, you've got to make sure that you're getting the right signals, from yourself, because sometimes that natural sort of willingness to just Homer Simpson style want to give up, if it feels hard, if it feels uncomfortable. Yes, there are times when that is the right thing to do and not keep trying to make it work. But there are other times as well where actually you need to keep pushing through. And literally kind of one day I woke up and just found things were working. So stuff that I hadn't been having much of an effect with doing sales demos previously suddenly started working, and it was that was where I started doing well.
So if we think back to when you were at school then, if you can remember that far back.
Oh, I can, very good, yeah.
You didn't have any desire to get into this sort of industry or sales when you were back at school? I mean, did you have a plan that you wanted to be a ballet dancer or?
No, I didn't. And actually, I'm hoping that the whole careers advice thing is much better these days. Hopefully things like this help give you a thing. But the careers advice back in my day was really they tried to do testing, like individual testing, that they then said, "Oh, well, you're predisposed to be XYZ or that." Well, my 3 choices when I came out was, they said I was going to be I was ideal to be a merchant banker, and I don't think that was slang. I don't think it was rhyming slang. Then they said I could be in the military police, which was hilarious. And I can't even remember what the other one was, actually. There was another one. So I wasn't one of those people who knew what they wanted to do from day one. I'm always very envious. Looking out there, the people that will be here today, some of you will know from day one, I want to be a fireman, I want to be a pilot or something like that. And I've always been very envious of that, because genuinely I've gone through life really not having had an idea about it. And I think there's 2 sorts of people in this world. There's the sort of people that go to a restaurant and they already know what they're having, or they have a look at the menu within 2 seconds. And then there's me, who keeps telling the waiter every 2 minutes, "Can you just give me another few moments, because I can't make my mind up." And that very much was the case for me. So I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I think one of the challenges you've got as you grow up is trying to find out and expose yourself to as many different jobs, at least just if it's just the knowledge of them, to find out what works. And a lot of that will come from talking to your teachers, but as well, just looking at what your friends and family are doing and seeing what what works for you, basically.
So 2 questions then.
Yeah.
Did you ever see a spark of the salesy side of you when you were younger? Did you have like entrepreneurial skills? Were you a guy selling lemonade on the street corner? And then secondly, were you very academic? I mean, what sort of exams results did you get?
No, I was certainly. Let's deal with the second one first, because then I can move on quickly. Certainly wasn't academic. I was always in the. We had it. What was it called? It was lower 4D, middle and upper form Y, and then all the way through lower 6R. I don't know if these are still the same, but what I'm saying is that every one of those was the bottom class. Okay. So I slipstreamed my way through, basically. And I think it came down to, if I'm honest, laziness. I loved like many people, I love certain subjects. So bizarrely, things like religious education, even though I'm not vaguely religious, I absolutely adored. I loved things like I loved economics, which I went on to do at degree. I loved history. You put me in a physics class, and my eyes would fall out. So I didn't do very well. As I said, I was actually held back at the start of the 6th form because I'd only got 4 GCSEs. And I was only allowed to take 8 in total because they thought taking any more than that would overload this tiny mind of mine. And I'd only got through. We had to be held back just while I got the. I had to retake French because I was rubbish at languages. So I think I got five passes at C or above at GCSE level and a smattering in other ones. Did a bit better at A level. Got 4 degrees there, 3 C's. 2 C's, a D and an E. And I think this is one thing is, you're all going through very difficult times now with your GCSEs and A levels, and they are obviously incredibly important now. But the wonderful thing is when you get into later life, you really, once you've got once you've got that grounding there, you don't look back really. I can't think the last time I'm 47 now. I know I look like Peter Pan, but I can't remember the last time that I was asked. But so you've got to, as with everything, you've got to put the work in to be able to get the ability to do the things you want, don't you? Which I think is the key thing. And then, sorry, what was your first question? I've got a squirrel's memory.
That's fine. Did you have any like entrepreneurial skills, or could you see this ending up where you ended up? Like, were you like selling stuff, and did you this time next year I'm going to be a millionaire? Was that the sort of thing that was going through your head when you were young?
Do you know what? I've always had a really lazy attitude to money. Never appreciated the money. I don't know. It's not like I came from a really tough background, very very middle class. It's a bit weird. Just as a background, I was born in Kuwait and I grew up in Abu Dhabi. Many of you might know that, next to Dubai in the Middle East. I came back here when I was 11 years old. My parents leaving me and stayed in Abu Dhabi, which probably tells you how much they cared about me. And I went to boarding school at a little place called Warwick, not a million miles from you over there, is there? But so I went to a boarding school there, and I suppose I didn't really ever anticipate. At first, I thought, because I like technology, I thought, I'm going to be a developer, but I showed no ability to actually learn that at all. Sales, yes. I mean, I think because I was quite a small kid, so to avoid getting bullied, I had to be able to joke my way out of things, and and have that again, gift of the gab. So that came quite naturally. And actually, you're selling lemonade by the side of the road it couldn't be more accurate. We used to have a few apple trees and plum trees, ours and the neighbours, when we lived just outside Stratford and Leamington Spa, and I used to sell those on the road, literally to whoever would do that. So I wouldn't look, and I did that occasionally. It's not like I was the thing I've always done. I've always dipped in and dipped out until I've done what I've done now and really started enjoying it. It was always kind of a bit sort of half-hearted, really, if I didn't really love it. look, I think it's all very well and good for people. Everyone, the people, I don't know if they will have known him, but Gary Vernon quite a popular entrepreneur who does a lot on Twitter. He's well worth Twitter and Facebook. Well worth following up with his stuff. I think he's fascinating. Self-made millionaire going on for billionaire, and he's one of those ones that says do what you want to do, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Yeah, you know what? You've got to be a bit careful with that, because I appreciate that people like me and him would say that, because we've been the lucky ones. But I do suspect, again, that sliding door moments, that for every one of us that's made it, and look, yeah, okay, there has to be some sort of skill in there, but we've had the breaks as well. And there might be 9 other people that, wanted to, build whatever batshit mental business it was, but actually weren't able to do it for those breaks. So sometimes you've got to do, and I think this is the thing, even if you've got that end goal, you don't straight away go into doing everything. There's hard slog, and it all sounds obvious. You've heard it a million times before, but keep your eye on the goal, as it were, there. And what I would say is, if you find yourself over a period of time, as I said, not initially, if it's uncomfortable, but if you're feeling this way for months on end, oh God, you're one of those people who's on Facebook, bitching about, oh God, it's Monday tomorrow. Oh no, look, get out. That is no way. There are enough jobs there now, that really exciting jobs, that you can get on and do it. So have that vision, but also you've got to embrace that feeling of discomfort. When you're doing things that naturally feel, oh, this doesn't feel right, I think they are all not ordinarily, if you persist at them, they're the ones that open up loads of other options for you. And I'll give you a real world example. You've seen me a number of times, obviously, Zoe, and most people react with horror when I say, even these days, as to a degree, but I'm much better with it. I used to be almost homicidally nervous with public speaking. So talking in front of, never mind even hundreds of people or thousands of people as I do now, if I had to stand up in a room of more than 5 people, butterflies, spending all your time internalizing, thinking about, oh God, I'm being an idiot here, and just actually that becomes a vicious cycle. So you've got to be able to turn off that switch, and I'll come on to that a little bit later. But yeah, keep pushing against that sort of that boundary, if you like, because actually now that I have conquered that, and I think it's the same, you've done a bit yourself, doing things like webinars and things and videos, they felt really, really awkward, and you think, oh, this is never going to feel right. And actually, do you know what? At some point, it just doesn't become a thing, does it? And you'll say yourself, I think, for what it's done for you and your business, that willingness to jump on the video and do public videos is a game changer. I really think, you guys will all be aware these days of things like LinkedIn. We didn't have that when we were around. Sorry, I sound like Only Fools and Horses, Uncle Albert during the war, but genuinely, we didn't have tools like LinkedIn. So you can find those businesses that you want, and genuinely having the gumption to drop somebody just a message online there and say, look, just wanted to say I'm a really big fan of your business. Would you consider some intern work, some part-time work? Obviously, do you have any apprenticeship schemes? So you literally just say, look, I have no idea, but I'd be really willing to help out. And this comes down to what you're willing to do yourselves, guys. It's like, will you say, like, well, I'll happily work there for a month free of charge while you figure out, or I figure out whether it's something we want to do. I know, and I get those kind of emails. It's like, look, it might not be right, it might not be, the right job, the job personality or whatever, but I am going to pay attention to that. And you can always, by the way, practice what I preach. If you want to obviously ever apply to us, just drop us a line and we'll give you a free and honest feedback if we can't do anything. So yeah, do that, and talk to, again, your friends. Your friends and family are your most powerful networking and recruitment tool. A CV is all well and good, but a friend saying you need to talk to Simon because he's this, that, and the other, that's worth its weight in gold. And not least, you don't have to go through recruitment people as well, which for those that don't know, businesses have to pay quite a bit of money usually to get people via recruiters. They serve their place, but actually, if they could save a few £1,000s getting somebody going direct, then why would they not? So look, I made that point about don't let anyone tell you can't do something. Like, that's true up to a point. you know, and get on with it. But, you know, I never want to see one of you as being a pilot on a plane I'm on if you haven't had training. So again, you know, you need to be sensible. If it's highly technical, you want to do things like being a surgeon, you're looking at a 6-year career to get off the ground. Now, you're lucky that the vast majority of jobs aren't like that, and you can find your way. I would genuinely be setting yourself between the ages of 18 to 25 and looking at testing, you know, really trying as many different things. If you find a job that works for you, great, but don't go into one and then consider you've failed. The Americans have a phrase called fail fast. And that, you know, that basically is it's a bit cheesy, but, you know, yeah, don't feel that failure is, you know, Americans wear that as a badge of honor. Oh yeah, well, I've had 3 businesses, 2 of them didn't work. The key thing is that third one is the one that, you know, that work for them. So from my own point of view, I've bankrupted a company in my day, and I've sold a business for £50 million. So, you know, you've got to, you don't have to always do that, but you know, there is, you learn. Often you learn more in that route of failure than you do actually in success. So I think that's the first thing that I would say about that. The second thing is the 3-point advice I'd say is relationships. We are in a digital world now, and it's vitally important you get on board with all of those tools and everything else, and that's well and good. But invest a bit of time in building relationships. And this is, by the way, this is one that is not even a sales related thing. Spend, depending on how much you want to throw yourself into it, either we call it the 5 before 5 or the 10 before 10. And let me just explain that. That's making 5 phone calls to people you know, not your mates, that you haven't ever spoken to, or you haven't spoken into some time. But make sure you speak to them every single day. So the 5 before 5 is 5 calls before 5 p.m. The 10 before 10 is a bit more aggressive. That's 10 phone calls, but that will transform your business better than almost anything else you can do if you stick to that religiously around the year. Because, you know, at that top level, you're dealing with almost, you know, with a bit of slip and slide, the odd hangover. You're still talking to 3,000, you know, people there. And every one of those might have a business opportunity, might be a person to introduce you to somebody else going on. So just connect religiously all around. And then the third thing is, you know, stop listening to the voices in your head. And I'm not talking about the crazy ones that clearly I am. I'm saying that as I'm looking here, actually. I've got a potato with what goes around comes around.
I'm not even going to ask what that's about.
Oh, no, it came in the post, so I don't really know. I don't know if it's a threat, really.
Somebody else.
Anyway, I did say I genuinely was my own worst enemy. And I still hear it now. My mind's so busy, it's going over. You're doing this wrong. They're seeing through you. You know, yes, you can do that thing. Imagine them all naked, but that leads you into another weirder place. But stop obsessing over negativity. There's a wonderful phrase, sumo, shut up, move on. You just don't have to have the time, the baggage to do it. It's a great book, by the way. Go and have a look at it. But the other one is, for anyone that is an issue, and you know, happily to talk to them about it, by the way, go and read the book, The Chimp Paradox. The Chimp Paradox is the best kind of self-help book, and that, I know that always sounds rubbish again, but it's brilliant for understanding the actual way that our minds are wired, and dealing mechanisms for dealing with that sort of stuff. And look, there's a billion other ones out there, but as a starter for 10, that's not a bad place to go. And as I said, you know, just enjoy what you do.